Hi, I'm Quincas and I'm a synth DIY guy. Welcome to today's video, which is the demo video for both the 1222 Performance VCO and the 1114 Grrr filter. Both of these by Look Mom No Computer, aka Sam Battle. Hi Sam, hope you're watching this. Hope you like the video. Anyway, let me talk a little bit about each one of these modules. The Performance VCO lives up to its name. It has a nice ergonomic layout that is very tweakable and playable, and also it has some very interesting performance features, one of them being the onboard tuner. It's an Arduino based onboard tuner, and this allows you, if you have a need for a whole bunch of oscillators and all of them are this kind with a tuner in it, and you can easily, before any performance, just go through all the tuning and without having to plug in a separate tuner for each oscillator. So this is really nice. This is a direct port from Sam's own oscillators in the Cosmo format, which is far larger. They are 20 centimeter tall panels. This is the miniaturized Eurorack version of that module. Another thing that makes it very handy for performance is the octave switch. So it has an octave switch, lets you quickly change octaves on any oscillator that you might want to do that to by just turning the switch. It has 1 octave of fine tune over here, and it has the pulse width knob as well as pulse width modulation input. And another thing that makes it nice for performance is the fact that all of the calibration trim pots are available at the front panel. So if you do need to calibrate any of these before performance, you can do so far more quickly by using these exposed trim pots and the onboard tuner, and not having to open the module up and use anything extra. So as far as features go, it's pretty basic. It's got CV inputs, the 1 volt per octave, as well as just a direct CV input with an attenuator. Right, there's FM. Let's have a quick look. What's that attenuator for? Is that for this CV input? Yep. Right. So it's got an attenuator for the second CV input. The volt per octave is not affected by the attenuator. And the FM input over here, this one is not affected by the attenuator at all. So the attenuator only affects the second CV input over here. Okay, we have a pulse width modulation input, we have a sync input, and we only have 3 outputs, being the pulse output, the saw wave output, and the triangle wave output. So really nice all around performance oriented oscillator with some nifty features, right? Namely, the thing that's really sets it apart that I've never seen on another oscillator, analog oscillator before, is the tuner. Let's talk about the filter a little bit. This is a OTA based filter, but it has some tweaks to make it more interesting and more gnarly. That's why it's called the Grrr filter. It has a clip circuit over here, which is a unique kind of a clipping, not diode based, right? You have resonance with resonance CV. You have a built-in VCA, right? So you can just, if you're not using the VCA, just turn it all the way up and it's just a regular filter, right? But I am actually sending envelope to that VCA and using it as part of my voice. So we'll turn it back down. There is attenuated VCA input, which is attenuated by this CV over here. Actually, no. Yeah. Right, there's an attenuated CV input and an unattenuated one. And there's a cutoff CV input as well as an unattenuated one. There are 2 summed audio inputs, right? There's no volume control for these, but you can send 2 waveforms in there if you want. For example, we can send that square wave as well and mix it in with the saw wave. Here's a little taste of what the filter can sound like. Let's just listen to it with the pure saw wave. A little more resonance. And the resonance can get pretty gnarly, see? Even kind of steppy when you bring it up all the way high. I can clip it and get some nice sounds that way as well. Let's turn down the clipping now. Why don't we send it some CV apart from the filter that I'm sending it? We can send why don't we send that? I'm not attenuating the filters, the envelope, or am I? I think I am actually. Right, it's an attenuator for this cutoff. So let's keep it kind of subtle. Ooh, listen to that bass. Now we can modulate that with something else as well. For example, the filter 8 as an LFO. Right. I can just attenuate this one over here on my navigator if I want. There you go. You can make the LFO modulation a little more subtle. Bring up that center cutoff. Of course, another cool use for that second CV input, the unattenuated one, would be to send the volt per octave output, and that way you have filter tracking. The filter will open along with the note that you play on your keyboard or sequencer. Sounds pretty gnarly. All right, let's try the triangle wave with clipping. Right, now the filter also has a shelf switch over here, and over here it says that the tweaked out modified LM13700 low pass filter, the GUR filter, can produce some gnarly clipping, and with a shelf switch you can adjust the characteristics of the grit. So that's what the shelf switch does. Ooh, listen to that. Wow, that sounds really nice. Shelf switch up. More grit. Shelf switch. So yeah, you do get some tonal variation by using that shelf switch. Why don't we create a sequence here? We're gonna use the step 8 over here. We get the scan output and the step output, and we need to send it. We need to send it a clock. So I'm just gonna grab an output from the Kermit over here and use that to step through the sequencer here. Sounds really nice right there. But we do need to maybe buffer the. Here we go. I'm going to use the rise output of control 1 to trigger a VCA. And here's that octave switch comes in handy, right? Very easy to just go up and down the octaves. Let's make this a little faster. Let's turn that self clipping down a bit. Let's use the pulse wave now. Very cool. Nice gnarly sounds coming out of this thing. And why not modulate that pulse width as well? So let's just grab another one of these LFOs. Maybe another output of the filter 8 here. Or not, or another output of the Kermit. Let's make sure the amplitude is high and the wave is a sine. We'll send that to the pulse width modulation input here. Now we can bring up the center pulse width so it doesn't go quiet, and we can attenuate the input CV. And bring up the octave. Clip it less. A little more resonance. There you go. Attenuate that CV some. And the LFO as well. Bring up the center. A very cool combo. Almost a full voice. You just add an envelope generator and you have a full voice, or two envelope generators. And they look super cool, super punky, you know, electro punk like Sam himself. Fun to play, very performance oriented. I always send some audio rate modulation to the FM input here. Nice. You can split the scan output of the sequencer as well, and use it on both oscillators now. Both per octave here, the one that's FMing the other one. There you go. Audio rate. Let's listen to the saw output now. Maybe drive a little bit. Very cool. Yeah, the shelf definitely gives it a different character. Now here's something that's pretty cool, is if you, now that you have a tuner right here, you can use an unquantized sequencer such as this one and actually use the tuner to really nail the note There you go. This is a G sharp. Right, now the next step. That's a C sharp. And then the next step, we can tune that to it's a little flat, see? You can actually use like an arcade button or something to manually advance. I can use my contour 1 actually, if I want to, just repatch everything. So that's another cool thing about having that tuner on board, is you can actually use it to tune the CV coming out of your sequencer to match, you know, actual notes in the 12 tone per octave system. Right, now I can bring it up, and it's not going to sound so random anymore. It sounds like a quantized sequence, see? So that's another handy use of the onboard tuner. So cool. I think that's it for today. Hope you liked the video, and stay noisy.